A very good morning to everyone. Today we will move on to the second part of perception. For this session, I have referred to sources from Share Slides, Internet Sources, Slides and Images, and I have referred to the book Organizational Behavior by Stephen P. Robbins. We perceive things based on so many factors which we saw in the previous session. There are few factors of the perceiver, few factors at the target level. There are few situational factors also. Apart from that, there are few factors which affect our judgment. First one being attribution theory. Second one, we have shortcut which we use generally or what is called as perceptual errors. Under that we'll see selective perception, halo effect, contrast effect, projection and stereotyping. Attribution theory. It was first proposed in the year 1958 by Heather. Then the theoretical framework was developed in the year 1974 and it was further developed in the year 1986 by Wiener. It is nothing but giving an explanation to your behavior, attributing or what are the attributes which causes a behavior. It is based on three things. First one, distinctiveness. Will the same person behave in the same manner in all other situations? Most of the time, no. When you're happy, you behave in a very different way. When you're sad, you behave in a very different way. Next one, being consensus. Will individual act the same as others in same situation? It is one situation. Will A and B both react in the same way or both behave in the same way? No. Each person is different. They have their own unique characteristics. Third one, will an individual act the same way over a period of time? No. Because mostly what happens is once you make a mistake, then you learn from those mistakes. You will not repeat the same thing. So when you understand that something wrong you have done, in that case you will not repeat the same behavior in the future. That is what is this attribution theory. Wiener identified so many things like ability, effort, task difficulty, and luck as most of the important factors affecting attributes for achievement. In fact, he classified three causal dimensions: locus of control, stability, and controllability. Locus of control you have already seen in personality. It is nothing but whether you believe that you can control your fate or you believe that someone else, some power is controlling your fate. That is what is locus of control. Then stability and controllability. Based on these three causal dimensions, you can categorize or attribute or you can explain the behavior. Now we'll move on to common shortcuts in perception. The first one being selective perception. People selectively interpret what they see on the basis of their own interest, background, experience, and attitude. Any characteristic that makes a person, object, or event stand out will increase the probability that it will be quickly perceived or it will be perceived. You know why is it so? Because it is impossible for us to take everything that we see. Only certain stimulus will be taken in. Only in bits and pieces it will be taken in. So based on this only we are perceiving things. Say for example, a manager sees that Mr. A has committed a mistake. He will go and punish him for that. But sometimes Mr. B would have also committed the same mistake, but that will go unnoticed. You know why? Because the manager has already seen few things about Mr. A. So based on that, always he'll be like, okay, this person does mistakes. We need to have a check on him. I ensure that all his files is getting a double check. So this kind of selective perception, this is one of the shortcuts. Quickly you can judge, but not always everything is correct. There is a chance that we may forego few things. Next, we'll move on to halo effect. It is a tendency to draw a general impression about an individual on the basis of a single characteristics. This generally happens, the students will judge a teacher based on one single trait, or in the first day, they may think that this person is like this only. Say, teacher A is very caring, she spoke in a very good way, she is very supportive. You think of something of that sort in the first day. But after that, there is a chance that she might not be the same. For the first day, to have a better impression, she would have gone like that. From second day, she might be very strict. She may be only confined to her teaching. That is all. Say, for example, teacher B. There is a chance that she might be very strict on day one. But after that, she might not be like that. She might be knowledgeable, she might be highly qualified. But it doesn't mean that she is not soft to the students. But generally, what happens, students will think like, okay, this ma'am is very strict. You will never approach her for any other thing. You will think like, okay, this ma'am is very strict. It's better I avoid her. So that is what is halo effect. Generally, what happens, halo effect is just like first impression is the last impression. People should be judged by their work, not by their dress. Generally, this happens in interviews. Seeing the dressing sense, the interviewer will have a kind of halo effect. It is not required, right? He needs to be judged based on the work, and people should be judged by their results, not by the attendance. That is the reason why many of the multinational companies are coming out with flexi timings. It doesn't matter. You can't log in by 9 o'clock. If you're happy to log in by 12 to 9, it's okay. I'm fine. Only thing is, I want my results to be delivered. That is all. It doesn't require that you come to the office, log in by 9 o'clock, leave by 5 o'clock. No, not required. Nowadays, most of the multinational companies, most of the companies are giving options like flexi timings. This is the reason behind it. The next one is contrast effect. Evaluation of one person's characteristics that is affected by comparison with other people recently encountered who rank higher or lower on the same characteristics. What is called as contrast effect. There is an old adage among entertainers who perform in variety shows. They don't have a act along with kids or animals. You know why? That is because a common belief that audience love children and animal. So when that happens, you will that entertainer will look in a very bad in comparison to the children or in comparison with the animals. This is what is contrast effect. This will distort your perceptions. That is the reason. We don't evaluate a person in isolation. Our reaction to one person is influenced by other people who have recently encountered the same thing. That is what is contrast effect. Next one is stereotyping. It is nothing but judging someone on the basis of one's perception of the group to which that person belongs to. Here, the biker is trying to bribe a police inspector, a traffic police, after the biker has done some kind of mistake. He is doing it because he has a general feeling that every traffic police will get bribed. It may not be the same. Maybe he is only trying to inform him that this is not the right way. You shouldn't proceed like this. Maybe he is only giving warning or a kind of instruction to biker. But he assumes that every traffic police are of the same type, and he is stereotyping and he is trying to bribe him. Next one is projection. Attributing one's own characteristics to other people. It is always easy to judge others if we assume that they are also similar to us. It is only like we think that they are also similar. If we give importance to honesty and trustworthiness, we assume that other people should also give importance. It is not required, right? So that is what is projection. Generally, what happens, parents will tell that if I feel cold, generally what happens, they'll go and switch off the AC, assuming that the child is also feeling cold. It is not required. That kind of shortcut is called as projection. Next, we'll move on to process of perception. It is classified into 6 steps. First one, receiving a stimuli. Using our sensory organs, whether it is sight or hearing, smell or touch. With these sensory organs, what is that we are receiving? Based on that, you are selecting few things which is important. It may be internal or external. So you are selecting it. Then you are directing or organizing it. Whatever you feel like, based on that, you are giving a meaning to it. Then you are interpreting it. Whatever you have received, then you are organizing, and the next step is to interpret. What is that you feel like? Then finally, you are checking, is that correct, which I have interpreted? Then you are reacting to it. You are showing some kind of reaction or some kind of action is being shown related to his perception. So we are first receiving it, then selecting, then organizing, then interpreting, then checking, then finally reacting to it. This is the process of perception. Next one, we'll move on to impression management. It is a process used by individuals to control the impression others form at them. It is a conscious or a subconscious process in which people attempt to influence the perception of other people about themselves. Controlling information in social interaction. Generally, this will happen in case a employee joins a office newly. In that case, what happens? He'll try to impress his manager by being punctual, by showing off that he is doing his job. He'll impress his peers, subordinates by doing favors. Oh, you look so tired. Why don't you leave early? I'll help you out. So such kind of favors. Playing safe, whatever might happen. You don't get involved. You'll play very safely. Opinion conformity. You have opinion. You will tell it out and confirm that others are also telling yes. Then you will play in a very safe game. So such kind of things will be done. This is what is called as impression management. There are few things you will proceed and there are few things you will hide. This is what is called as impression management. Next we'll move on to Johari window. It is a psychological tool created for understanding and for training purposes. Training self-awareness, personal development, improving communications, interpersonal relationships, group dynamics, team development, and intergroup relationship. It is showing emphasizes on soft skills such as behavior, empathy, cooperation, intergroup development, and interpersonal development. In fact, this model became very famous. It is only because of its simplicity. I'll explain you this model. First one. This is one spot where few attributes are known to yourself and known to others also. For example, if you are intellectually strong or if you are emotionally strong, you know that as well as even others know it. So that is an open spot. Second one. It is known to self, but it is not known to others. It is hidden spot. Say for example, you know something about yourself, but which you have hid from others. For example, if you see the growth of other people and you envy it, that envious characteristics, that is not known to others. So that is the hidden spot. Third one, not known to self but known to others. Say for example, the dark traits, Machiavellianism, narcissism, psychopathy. If you had any of the characteristics of those dark traits, you will not be in a position to even accept that you have that such kind of traits. But others who are observing you will know that for sure. So that spot is called as the blind spot. Next one is not known to self, neither known to others also. Few traits, few characteristics, even you do not know that you possess, and even others do not know that it has been possessed by you. This is what is the Johari window. This window helps in self-awareness, self-management, relationship management, and relationship awareness. Because of this, many online tools are available where you can find out whether you are in blind spot or you are in hidden spot or unknown spot or open spot with regard to others' feelings. Based on that, then you can perceive things. Thank you all students. We'll meet in the next session. Have a great day.